Welcome to my best 3-box combo Necromancer edition. I kind of hesitate to make this because Necromancers are known for solo players. Don't really play with anybody else, and they usually don't box. People that play Necromancers are usually strange, living in their parents' basement for far too long, or they have given up looking for groups. They're on time constraints and they just want to log into Everquest and play, get some experience, do some things, and log out, which is coincidentally the same reason people end up multi-boxing in the first place and playing their own groups so they can get stuff done. Necro does it a little bit more untraditionally with some fear kiting and other things of that nature. So when we're looking at the best 3-box, what we're really looking at is what characters does a Necromancer want to level up for future use or to play later on, because like I said, there's limited benefits to having some other characters. We'll go over what benefits there are. Before I get started into the top 3-box builds, I want to say if you're looking for a good 3-box and you want to play Necro but not necessarily as your main, that you can always add the Necro to the Shaman SK setup. It will fit in perfectly because the Shaman is going to have dots, the SK is going to have dots, the fights are going to be kind of longer because you're only 3-boxing, so all the dots should run their course, and everything should work well for you with that 3-box combo of SK, Shaman, Necro. However, you're here because you're going to be maining a Necro. Before we start off, Necromancers have the weakest pet, but they do have a lot of utilities that other pet classes don't have. You can tank group named. You won't be able to tank really any bosses or anything, obviously, but the other pets really can't either. And I guess the big downside to the Necromancer pet is how it handles ads. Now you could get some mage focus items and make your pet pretty beefy, I guess, but Necro pet's not really so much for like tanking hardcore stuff, but most times you can be fear kiting, snare kiting, that type of thing, so just a little extra damage. The number one pick I have for you today is a Necro Druid Shaman. With this combo, you get, obviously you have the Necro pet tank. You can get all the dots, both Druid and Shaman have dots. You also have Druid ports and evac, and you'll have Druid and Shaman buffs plus run speed. The Shaman has the best slow in the game, which will make it easier for your pet to tank. Shaman and Druid can heal. You'll also get resist debuffs. The Druid mainly has a lot of fire debuffs, but the Shaman has all the debuffs pretty much, so Shaman debuffs will actually help you land your dots and whatnot. And then you also have the Shaman pet, which I refer to it as a speed bump. Not really going to do too much for you, but it'll give you a little bit extra time if something does go bad. Obviously you have fear, which is probably the main way you level, the fear kiting. And then you also have access to undead and animal charms from the Druid, plus root and snares. The cons of this setup are that you don't have a big tank, your pet is going to suffer from mitigation of the mighty. There's no resurrection until later on when AA comes into play. And you do have the weakest tanking pet, but with the best slow, so that does count for something. Number 2, Necro Shaman. This could also be Necro, which some people will do, but I added the Shaman in there so that you can get some little bit of run speed buffs, some other buffs, attack buffs and whatnot for your pet. Maybe make your pet last a little bit longer. Shaman has dots plus heals, so Necro Shaman is number 2. Could go Necro, and maybe that's number 1, but maybe you have a hard time trying to managing all those dots and pets. So, and then the benefits of this are you have dual pet tank, you have double Necro dots, Shaman buffs run speed, Shaman slow, Shaman heals. You get the Shaman that can do resist debuffs. You have the Shaman pet for speed bumps, so there's technically 3 pets, fear and undead charm. Cons are you have no big tank, mitigation mighty again for the pets, no resurrection, no ports, which might be a big thing at classic trying to get around, and you still have the weakest tanking pet but with the best slow, and there's 2 pets now. So the third best, we're going to go Necro, Shaman, Cleric. And with this, you're going to have, obviously, the Necro pet tank. Necro and Shaman both have dots. You got Shaman buffs, Shaman run speed, Shaman slow, Shaman and Cleric heals. You got Shaman resist buffs, Shaman pet for your speed bump, Cleric buffs. This is huge because it can make your pet really strong. You have the best HPAC buffs with the Cleric. You got root, fear, resurrection, and undead charm. Additionally, the Cleric does have some DD nukes for undead that work really well, and other baby nukes I call them. The cons are no tank, mitigation of mighty again, you have no ports, it's a lower DPS setup, because the Cleric is mainly a support heal class. Like, not going to be dishing a ton of damage, but they will make you survive a lot better. And you have the weakest tanking pet, but now you have the best AC HP buffs and the best slows, so that does count for something. And for number 4, we're going to go Necro Bard Druid. And with this, we got the Necro Pet tank. We get Druid buffs, Druid Bard debuffs, Druid Sow, Druid heals, ports, evac, fear, snare, Bard run speed, which is huge, especially in classic, undead, and animal charm. The Necro, Druid, Bard all have dots. Bard has a slow, but you have Bard HP mana regen. And the cons are, obviously, you have no big tank, mitigation mighty, no resurrection, and the weakest tanking pet. Bard slow may not be enough to save you. It is a slow, so it does help. Alright, the next is 4A, where we're just swapping the Druid and Shaman. They're in similar roles with buffs and heals. The Shaman's obviously has a lot better traits, but Shaman doesn't have ports and evacs, so pick your poison. And with this, we're going to have, obviously, the Necro tank, Shaman buffs and run speed, Shaman slow heals, Shaman and Bard debuffs. Got the Shaman pet for your speed bump, fear, snare, Bard run speed still, undead charm, Necro, Shaman, and Bard all have dots. And the Bard has HP mana regen. We have no tank, mitigation mighty still affects pets, no resurrection, no ports. We have the weakest tanking pet, but the best slow. So you're going to have to decide between Druid, Shaman. Do you want to get around faster, or do you want to do more when you actually get to the camp, which may take longer to get to in classic and up to like Plane of Knowledge? Once you get Plane of Knowledge, it gets a little easier to get around, so it also depends what area you're in. And finally, number 5, Necro Bard Cleric. And what we have with this is we have a Necro pet tank, we have resurrection now, Cleric heals and buffs, best HP AC buff in the game, fear, snare, Bard run speed, undead charm, Necro, and Bard dots. The Bard has slow, Bard HP and mana regen, and the cons are we have no tank, Big Daddy tank, still have mitigation mighty problems, we have no ports, we have the weakest tanking pet with the best HP AC buffs from the Cleric, so this adds more survivability if that were an actual statistic or a stat that you wanted to add to your group makeup. A lot of survivability when you have a Cleric in the group. So those are the top 5. If you do something else on a 3-box with a Necromancer, please let me know in the comments, and maybe we'll add it to this video or make another video down the road. But I want to know what you're doing besides Necro. So hit me up in the comments below, and thanks for watching.